Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast. This is the Arts Bonita podcast, where we grab instructors who are teaching classes, or we talk about upcoming special events or exhibitions and things like that. And today we're going to be talking with Barbara Ellis, who is here with us now. Barbara, say hi.
Hello there.
Okay. Barbara is teaching a lot of the jewelry classes where you learn to do bead making in accessories, jewelry, things that you would wear on your body. I've seen a lot of it. We'll actually look at some pictures in a little bit, but it's not just like a little. They're very involved. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So I can't wait to show them to everybody out there. If you haven't seen them before, a lot of you who are watching probably have, because you've cued into how special Barbara Ellis is. If you've taken her classes. I've walked into classes. I've seen students like pull me to the side and being like, "Oh my God, we love Barbara." And they're doing all these cool things, and they're doing the stuff that she's teaching them to do, but she's also allowing them to sort of be what they are, and like how they want to create stuff. So people get to learn a little bit about her style while also developing their own. At least that's what I've experienced in your classes. Is that pretty much what it's like?
Absolutely, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what got you into art when you were younger? Like, what was your first spark into art? And then how did that turn into kind of where you live as an artist today?
Okay, so it probably started right at the get-go. I remember coloring with my father and mother at a very young age, obviously. And many years later, I didn't know where I was headed when I was in high school. Didn't think I was college bound. Took work programs, worked at a paint and wallpaper store, learned a lot about color, learned to work with interior designers. All of a sudden said, I think this is what I want to do. I want to be an interior designer. So I was very lucky to go to Ringling School of Art and Design here in Sarasota, Florida, and spent 30-some years working in a very high-end interior design firm. They decided to close their doors, and one door closes and another door opens.
So true.
And I found the Arts of Bonita, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
I think early on, I really didn't know whether I wanted to be an interior designer or if I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
But I did have a very successful career as an interior designer, and then somehow found this love for teaching. The jewelry and the bead work, some of it was intertwined with the interior design work. I did a lot of beaded floral bouquets before I ever even learned about the jewelry aspects. I never even really wore much in the way of jewelry, never wore bracelets or any of that, but found this love of art that took a long time. It's not like stringing beads. It's definitely creating art to wear.
Wow. Well, let me show you guys how to get to Barbara's classes on the website, okay? So if you go to artsbonita.org, and you scroll down to either, you can hit education here, or you can go up to the top and hit education, and you can go to adult education. So when you click on adult education, we have youth and adults. We want you to make sure that you're looking in the right area, because if you are 65, you don't want to take a 4 to 8-year-old art class. I'm just saying, you probably don't. So you go to jewelry, which is right here, and you click on that, and then down here, it's going to list the various offerings that we have in the jewelry discipline, which right now is a collection of a lot of your stuff, Barbara Ellis, and then also Lynn Sheft. There's some stuff in here as well. And this is where you go. But if you wanted to do some advanced search, I just want to give you guys a pro tip of how you go and look for the things that you want. If you click that advanced search button that's right there to the right of the search button, what you can do is scroll down and you can pick very specific categories. Like you can pick a day of a week. If you're like, I want to do classes on Saturdays, if you click that Saturday, it's going to show you every offering we have that's on a Saturday. So it's kind of a cool feature that exists right now. And what's really great, if you're a huge fan of Barbara Ellis, which I understand if you are, you just go here and you click Barbara Ellis, and then it's only going to show you the stuff that that Barbara is teaching. And it's really cool. So you all can see that. Go do that, because your classes are very popular. Excuse me. Your classes are very popular, and it is definitely, you should sign up for these classes soon, because you all should know, and you probably do, unless you're new to the podcast, that people sign up for classes 6 months in advance, sometimes even more. And we have programming through May of 2026. So now is the time. If you have interest in this and you haven't done it, you need to go click the register button or learn more information about the class, or you can call the center and we'll answer questions for you. But you definitely want to take care of it now so you don't get into February. If you're looking for something to do in February, you might get a little bit lost. Barbara, can you tell me a little bit about, the beginner bead weaving and the intermediate advanced? Where is that line between beginner? Is it really just, have you tried it before? And if you have, you can go on, or do you have to reach a certain level in beginning to be like intermediate advanced would be good for you?
Okay, so I started out with beginner and intermediate, and now my beginners may think that they're intermediate, but they may not be. So the beginners is really set for those that want to try new things, and usually it takes a while to learn all the different techniques that I offer. So I teach that, and the beginner class teaches all the different stitches in beading. So you need to kind of excel at doing all these stitches before you feel that you're going to fit properly with some of the people that have been doing it for a long, long time.
Do some people take the beginning class multiple times until they're ready?
Almost all of my students, I do get new students every year, obviously, but most of the students are repeating the classes, which is great. It's great to have a following. And I find that I offer a class where it's not everybody is going to do the same necklace or everybody's going to do the same bracelet. I try to let people come in with what they want to do and try to be an independent instructor. I excel at going to each and every student one at a time and kind of letting them do their own thing. So I've had students bring in grandma's old jewelry, we've torn it apart, and we've remade it into something that's more current. Again, it's not stringing beads or wire crimping. I don't do those things. I specifically do things with needle and thread.
Okay.
So there's different size needles, different size threads, different size beads that we either do a bead stitch and make things that are like flat woven pieces. We could do a tapestry, we could do a bracelet, a necklace, earrings, or we could even get more involved and start doing other types of bead weaving, which it just excels. Some projects, you may leave class and you may only have a half of an inch done on a certain piece. So it's something that you get addicted to, you learn to love it, or you don't. I've had some people say, this isn't my thing. And if it's not, that's no problem. We have so many things here at the Arts that we can find something to fit people. But
can you multitask and do it? Or do you have to be like uber focused on what you're doing? Because are you using both hands?
Yes.
Both
Usually
eyes?
you're holding, yes.
Yeah.
As you grow with it, if something is repetitive, say that you're making a long rope for a lariat or something, and it's a repetitive stitch, you definitely can do it while you're watching television.
Are you counting or are you watching length?
A little bit of both.
Okay, because I know like with Lynn Chef's classes, like I've done some stuff with her where she's like, you got it, you count, and then you shift, and then you count, depending on what pattern you're going for?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So some things are what I would call like freehand,
Okay.
which you can kind of be a little bit freer with. And that's my bead embroidery classes. So and that's more into the intermediate level.
Okay.
So the bead embroidery classes, we can make a purse, we can make a statement necklace, and it's where, say, we take a cabochon, something that I've even created some of these pieces in our raku department, and I've made a cabochon out of raku. I teach you how to go around that cabochon with a row of beads, and then you build up on the beads until you actually encase it. Just like you were taking a ring and encasing it with metal, we're encasing it with beads. Then we build from there, and maybe we'll add some pearls, maybe we'll add some crystals. We'll back it We'll give it a necklace. We'll give it some fringe. So that's all bead embroidery. But when you first start, you need to know the stitches to get to there. So we learn basic sewing stitches. So if you can sew a button on, you can take my beginner class. You need to like thread the needle. I remember when I first started with the Art League and I did some of the evening classes, and it was called Bling It On, and they were blinging it, and I was running around the class threading their needles. So it was one of those fun events, I guess.
Yeah. What do you, when you're doing it? So, okay, I'm curious about, there's you teaching the classes. How do you separate Barbara the artist from Barbara the teacher? How much time do you put into you continuing to develop your own enjoyment of the art?
So because I teach here, this is like my stable, this is home, this is where I like to teach. And then I do travel the country, and I teach for the bead embroidery, no, not bead embroidery, the Embroidery Guild of America. And in order to teach for them, you have to come up with a project. So I'm constantly stretching and trying to get creative and coming up with something. And then you put in a proposal, and they may or may not select you. And then, and some of those things, then I have students here do my testing for me. So they'll make the pieces because they're so inspired with them.
Yeah.
So that kind of sparks some creativity. So when I'm traveling, I might get inspired by going to a museum. I might get inspired by a walk in the park. Who knows? Just like any other artist, inspiration is everywhere. I take my private time at home to try to develop new pieces constantly.
Do you have any other things that you do that you would call hobbies? Because most of us who are artists, people think of what we do as hobbies, no matter to what level we do it. Do you have other interests or things that you do outside of this?
I have to say that I've always loved different aspects of art.
Okay.
So I started sewing at 16, I think. I got my first sewing machine. So I sewed all kinds of clothing, and that was like fun. Going to Ringling, I had all these classes in sketching, watercolors, acrylics, doing all those kind of things. When I found the worlds of beads, I pretty much found my niche. This was where I was most comfortable. It's like painting with beads. You can create anything just like a paintbrush, but you can do it with a needle and thread and beads. So that's definitely, I spend all my time doing that.
That's
pretty
great.
much.
That's cool. Hey, I believe that this is why Arts Bonita exists, because everybody needs to find that thing. And it doesn't mean you have to find that thing to where you do it at Barbara's level and you're doing it professionally and you're teaching it. Finding that thing, though, that just fills you up, it's like that yin and yang, it's like what you do in your day and all the normal stuff that you deal with, and then to have something that you can go to just kind of like, it's for you. It's so incredibly important, and you may not know what that is for you, and that's why you should go to artsbonita.org and look at all the stuff. We have well over 1,500 unique offerings that are happening throughout the year. It's a ton of stuff, and we're always adding new things, one-night events, special events, things like that. So you got to just go look around, because you'll find something that piques your interest. And what I would encourage you listeners out there and watchers or whatever you're doing to do is if you feel a little spark go off when you see something, or if you're listening to Barbara talking, you're like, it's probably an indication that you should try it. And I just can't encourage it enough, because that creativity aspect, if you're missing it from your life, trust me, you need it. It is so incredibly important for so many reasons, just to have that thing that you can go to. That's why I love that you guys do these classes, because that's what you guys do for people. So the students in your class, can you tell me a little bit about what the dynamic is like in your class? If someone were to walk in, what type of energy are they feeling? What is the dynamic within the class?
For the most part, they're wonderful, wonderful gals. I mean, some of the students, I think I've been here for like 12 years, maybe between 12 and 15 years, and some of them have repeated. They come back. I think the fact that they can come and create anything they want, they'll like say, Barbara, I saw this in a magazine. Do you think we can do this? And I'm like, yeah, we can do this, of course, So all of them are working on independent things, but at the same time, when one person sees what the other person is doing, then all of a sudden it's got some interest going there that they too would like to do that same project. After they're finished with the project they're doing, can I do that one?
Yeah.
One of the gals was funny. I met her at a tent show that I was doing where I was selling some of my pieces, and she came into my tent and she saw some of the work I did. And she's like, oh, my mother did a pattern like that. It's called an amulet bag, and I have the stuff in my house. Do you think I could learn how to do that? And I said, yes. And she said, I think it's the same one you have right there. It's like Santa Claus. And I said, you can definitely do it. Can you pick up a needle and thread? Can you stitch? Can you sew a button on? She's like, yeah. I says, then you're more than welcome. And so she's been with me ever since, you know.
Wow.
I nickname her Pinky. Everything she wears is pink.
I think I've seen her before. I think
so.
I remember talking to her when I walked into your class toward the end of last year.
Yeah.
So you have a website that is beadedtreasuresbybarbara.com, right? And
Correct.
on this website, you have, links to some of the, galleries that you've been in. You show your work and stuff like that. What is, like, when you look up on the screen, some of these things are very complex. And I'm just wondering, what's the longest, do you do multiple projects at once? Do you stay with one until it's done? Like, what's your approach?
I guess, unfortunately, a little bit of both.
Okay.
You know, some people are pulling you in different directions. You have competitions that you have deadlines for. You have proposals to get out, all different things. And the Art League itself has many different venues where it has competitions and whatnot and themes. And so all of a sudden you get a theme for a piece, and it triggers whatever. I have one that's called Cranberry Bog, I believe, on my website. And that was about something to do with nature, which was a few years back, but it inspired me to do something based on a cranberry bog. And at the same time, I had a friend that had gotten engaged, and her fiance at the time proposed to her in a cranberry bog. So sometimes things intertwine, and you just have all the reason to create something special with it. I think I should have given her the necklace a long time ago.
Wow. Do you think the longest amount of time is that you spend on a single project?
Item. That's recently.
Yeah.
I've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So I've done this box. It's called a beaded object. And I actually take classes. I don't think any of us know all there is to know about any given thing. So I took a class with a master beater, which I now qualify for that title.
Yes,
too,
you do. Yeah.
because I did get that achievement recently. But I took a class with her, and it was called the Beaded Object. And you could bring anything to the table. It wasn't a set assignment, but she taught you how to take an object and bead it. So I purchased a rather large box that had a dome cover, and did all four sides of the box and the cover with these little tiny beads. And all kinds of clever techniques, how you would seam up the sides of the box so it would look like it was all done at one time, and yet it was done in separate pieces. So that took about 9 months, maybe.
Wow. And that's obviously you're doing other things and stuff in there, but that's like your primary project. So I've done that way, like with writing screenplays, where like this is the one I'm writing, for work, and then I'm like, but then I get an idea and it's distracting me, so I leave it. I'm I'm fully like, I'm gonna leave you, and I'm gonna come over here and work on this, and then whatever I had to get out, I get out, and then I go back and I work on what I'm working on. I think it's probably true for everybody in some aspect. I mean, I'm thinking of like our workshop artists, like Teresa Gerard and Mary Parkman. I know they work on, they do stuff in a day, but they also do stuff that's taking place over a long period of time. Then of course there's the scale and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, what all you guys do is amazing. I just think it's like the impact of it is not what's really talked about as much. It's like, okay, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this class. Oh, and what do you make? I make this. But that is just a part of the entire experience. it is the social aspect and the connection between the students in the class and the relationship between the teacher and the students at Arts Bonita that I find so unique, and I don't feel like it's talked about enough, because huge value in talent, experience, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you need that, but it's very hard to achieve that and to have really good dynamics in your class where the students respect the teacher respects the students respect each other, and they have fun and they look forward to it. I feel like people look forward to going to class, and that's probably why they go, Barbara Ellis signed up, next session signed up, next session signed up, and they just keep signing up throughout the entire time that you offer classes here.
Most definitely true.
Yeah. And I love what you said about you should always be learning. I think that that's key. It's something, my wife in her business, she's always like, yeah, she does her stuff and she's a master teacher, but she's always like, I need to always be learning from other people. And I think that's true for everybody. You should always be taking those opportunities. And can you tell me a little bit about what was the process like going about to become, what did you call it, a master?
Yeah, so with that organization that I belong to, the Embroidery Guild of America,
Yeah.
they offer many different avenues for you to become a master at what you do.
Yeah.
And so when I found out that they had a little level of beading, I said, well, I definitely need to be
You're like,
involved in this.
I'm gonna nail that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get that.
yeah. So I think it was set up to be done in 6 years, and I knocked it off in like 3. I didn't really have the time to be wasting. I mean, people do this as a hobby,
Yeah.
but I need to be spending my channels teaching. And I learned just by doing it. So they had 6 different steps to becoming it. So you would do the requirements, whatever they were, and usually each beading stitch. So the first one was something you do on a loom, or you can do a stitch that emulates the loom, which is called square stitch. And I had to do a tapestry that was so many inches wide and so many inches long, and it had to have undulating curves. And these ladies, when they give the piece, they actually turn it all directions, look under a magnifying glass, and if they see one little thread, they're going to nail you for it. So that was step number 1, and I got through it. But I asked her, because I go traveling to Minnesota every summer, I said, can I have the requirements for step number 2 so I can pull all my things and do it while I'm up north and be ready for, step number 3 next. So I'm kind of oriented like that. That's just me.
Yeah.
So I got so excited about step number 2. It was called it's something in herringbone stitch, which had to be a necklace, had to be so many inches wide, so many inches long in the herringbone stitch. Partially flat, partially tubular. So it had requirements.
Wow.
Well, I made that one in like 2 weeks,
My
where the
gosh.
first one was like maybe a month, 6 weeks. Well, I was so excited I made it in 2 weeks. And so
And then do you send it to them?
you have to send
And
it.
then they
have to evaluate it.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm like, so can I submit that with step number 1 since I already finished it? And she said, I don't think so. I said, well, then I'll sit and I'll wait till the next judging period. So there's only 2 judgments per year. So I'll wait. And she said, well, let me check. So then I was able to send both 1 and 2 in, and then I progressed to step
And I'm
number
sure
3.
their worry probably is, some people might be, did you really though? But where it's like, yes, you did. But some people might be like, did you hurry through it? Is that because they probably get people that want to do it? Some people maybe want to do it quicker.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When you get excited about something, you live, sleep, you just
Yeah.
think about that. And so you just keep doing it, I guess.
So I remember, especially when I was a kid, when I would go do things, like if we went skiing all day, I would go to sleep at night, and then all I could see is skiing.
Correct.
So how does what you do relate to how you dream? I'm just curious. Do you go to sleep and you're like, oh my God, I'm beading, I'm doing this, I'm stitching, I'm threading? Is that what happens when you're dreaming?
I do solve problems in my sleep.
Okay.
So if I have something that's an engineering problem and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to achieve that, I probably don't sleep quite as well as I should, and that's constantly on my brain.
Wow.
Yeah. The same thing happened when I was an interior designer, too. I would have issues with clients or issues with what I did, and
Yeah.
you'd solve those problems a lot of times in your sleep. Yeah. And
How-
wake up the next morning and write it down before it's too late and you don't
Yeah.
lose it. Yeah.
Huge. So how do you, have you had experiences where you have students that are struggling with something, or they're struggling with kind of getting to the next level or making progress? And can you think of a story where how you helped somebody through that? Because,
I have had one that was a
Yeah.
regular student that took all of my classes. She could do all the stitches. She was really good until she came to this one stitch, right angle weave. And to this day, I constantly get, the drudged right angle weave. That's the worst stitch
it's
ever.
like her nemesis.
And many people,
Yeah.
So it's been a challenge for me how to make this stitch a little bit easier for people to grasp. I mean, just recently I traveled to Texas and New Mexico, and I taught one of my specialty necklaces that is a rope-style necklace that got every stitch involved that I could come up with. And I used to say, if you don't know how to do right angle weave, we'll just move past this one and we can come to that later, or you could use one of the other stitches.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge for me to learn how to teach people how to get through that stitch. And so I came up with a way of teaching it that made it a lot easier. And so students are now like, wow, I can't believe I actually did that stitch. So that's
Yeah.
rewarding for the teacher and rewarding for the student.
So I wanted to just reiterate a couple of the classes that you have coming up. I know. Do you start in, let's see, September, right?
Yep.
You start like in 2 weeks,
Correct.
right? So so you have the beginner class is going to be on Mondays. Is that right? From 1 to 4?
That's correct. And some of
Okay.
the beginners are going to be advanced beginners.
Yeah.
They've been with me before, but
Yeah.
they're more comfortable there, and they don't want to be intimidated by somebody that can create the Mona Lisa, so to speak.
Yeah, so this is a great thing that people are probably wondering too, like, well, I don't want to go there and feel out of place. So like that beginning class seems to be very welcoming. Like you said, if you can sew a button onto a shirt, if you can thread a needle, then you're good to go
Yeah,
to come
yes.
in. And it seems like people are very open and accepting of kind of the different levels within the class.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
I usually start with those that are brand new to the class, and I may give them a little bit of favoritism just because I want to make sure that they have a nice, good start.
Yeah.
And then my other gals are totally like comfortable. So I usually get them all started on something, and I always say have something else to work on so that if I don't get to you quite as quickly as you want, I'm going to get to you because you're going to be working on something else to keep your time. So
Yeah.
so beginners get a little favoritism.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I think that's a great approach just
Yeah.
because then people know you have people who already know what to do, so
Yes.
people can kind of get started and then you can get to them. But it's frustrating when people come into a class and they feel like, well, I don't know what to do yet, and then they have to wait 20 or 30 minutes before they can get going. So I think that's a great approach. You guys should, if you haven't done it before, I think it's something that you just don't want to miss out on. And I mean, the opportunity to work with someone who is a master teacher, certified by the Embroidery
Guild of
America.
A lot of words.
Yep. I just think, you should definitely look into it. And the place where you need to go is artsbonita.org. That's the best place to go to sign up. Of course, you can sign up online. You can call the center and you can sign up just by calling the center, or you can stop into the center and go to the front desk and they will help you get registered. I should mention that we have many different levels of memberships that you should consider. And one of the basic benefits of being a member is you get the reduced price of the classes. So if you want to take classes here regularly, I mean, it pays for the membership on its own. So I would look at all the different levels of the memberships. We have some levels of memberships that include free open studios and things like that. So just look into that. But when you want to go see, Barbara Ellis's classes or anybody's classes, just go to the adult education or whatever you're looking for. I showed you how to do the advanced search, so make sure that you use that. I will also say, I just want to say, Barbara, thank you so much for coming, for joining us today, for sharing your thoughts, sitting down and talking to me. I know that your time is valuable, so thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, Thank you. We appreciate having you too.
Thank you. So to everyone else, the best way to get the word out about the work that Barbara Ellis is doing and Arts Bonita in general is to share this podcast on your social media channels. So please do that. It helps to get the word out about the podcast and about the center and about all of the offerings that we have. So please share it, like it, subscribe to it. I don't know. I don't even know if you can comment on it. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm so new to it. But if you can, comment on it. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Arts Bonita podcast, and we'll see you soon.